Zoran, you're very keen on mentoring, but many people don't know what's involved with it. Where do you start if you're going to create a mentoring program, or yourself is going to start mentoring? Is it just an individual, like we had when we were talking in Canada? It was an individual example that started you off in a way, and it seems to develop into a style of management for you. But how does mentoring enter account? How does the whole process start?
Well, there's a difference between coaching and mentoring. Coaching is one level down, so for your direct reports you coach, but you mentor 2 levels down. So I would mentor people who are reporting to my direct reports. And the difference between coaching and mentoring is coaching you are investing in developing your resources, your talent directly, and you're not asking for permission. You create a program, you take them through the different steps, and you invest your time and money and in executing different courses, different seminars, different ways of sharing that information, like we do have Christie University, directly to those employees. Now, mentoring is a little bit different because usually you cannot mentor somebody unless that person is interested in being mentored. So mentoree is a voluntary exercise. So a person who would like to be mentored has to be curious about things and eager to learn about different aspects of the business. So I was lucky in few instances in my career that people who are actually quite at the entry level of the organizational chart expressed their interest in learning how I do my job. So what I would do, I would print out the job description, my own job description, and I would share with them, and then they would follow up with me and depending on my responsibilities, ask me questions how I would do certain things. So we create case studies and we create different situations, and through the process of mentoring, I take those employees through the different decision-making steps in simulating what the real business environment is and what's happening with the business.
But you have to paint a picture in the first place. You have to paint the picture of you being approachable, and therefore you're in a way it's 2 areas, isn't it? You're sowing the seeds of being approachable and therefore making the whole thing possible. But also, I mean, it's unusual to get employees who want to find out more and would appreciate a senior executive in a company and ask them direct questions. And they're very rare individuals. Like, you don't often get that.
It is.
The guy we talked about was an unusual example.
It is, and I think our job as managers and leaders of the organization is to remove those barriers between us and the employees, because we are in senior management. Sometimes the employees are a little bit shy or reluctant to ask questions. But openly promoting mentoring, openly emphasizing the need to share that knowledge, and that for example, I do have an open door policy, so any employee can come to my office at any point in time, and my job is to make sure that I have time with them, that I will answer their questions. So once you create that kind of a culture of openness and removing barriers between us, then actually you have a chance to have a mentoring environment. So I think on one side, our job is to remove those barriers. On their side is to be curious, intrigued by the business, inspired by our technology, so they can actually ask questions. And I treat that personally, I treat those employees as gold, because not very often you get people who are really keen to learn deeply about how business is run at a higher level. And those are the leaders in making. And we need to make sure that the next generation of people, management and leadership, is in place. And it's done through some of the formal programs that we have, as well as informally, when somebody expresses desire to learn.
But you're setting a top-down culture, aren't you? You're creating a culture. How do you know within your senior executives who's going to make a good mentor? Are those qualities you actually look for when you're recruiting people, or are there those who are innate? Are they there to make money, run a business efficiently, and other things which are arguably more important to a lot of people? Mentoring isn't high on the list. So, I mean, how do you decide? Not everybody probably is a suitable mentor. How would you decide within a company who's worth developing and who's worth working with your talent coming through?
We created a framework called One Christie Culture, and we treat our employees as our family. So I think it is absolutely fundamental for us to create an environment that people trust one another. That's foundation for everything. That we are accountable for our actions, so we can deliver on our words and we keep our word. And so the element of integrity, you know, at the end of the day, that's the only thing we have, our integrity, and that we are keen to learn. So, so within that kind of framework of One Christie culture, I look at the senior managers or leaders in the organization from the point of how open they are, open-minded in terms of sharing their knowledge with other people. And if you see an executive who is holding the information close to the chest and not sharing that information with other people, even within the senior management, that's not a great candidate for mentoring, because they will not openly share their knowledge. So when we look at the leadership in our company, my expectation is not that they're going to just do their own job. My expectation is that they're going to add value on top of their job responsibilities. And adding value is bringing new talent and educate new wave of leaders throughout the organization. And we say, saying that you're in front of the door and opportunity knocks, and we cannot force people to build their career, but we can build the door and we can open the door. Senior managers, it's up to them to actually go through those doors. But if they see that there is a door and there is an opening, that they can actually are welcomed through those doors, I think they're going to be much more open to be mentored and to be engaged with the senior leadership. So those are two sides of the coin. One, senior leadership to be open-minded in sharing the knowledge and in interaction with the employees, and the employees to feel that company cares about them, that we acknowledge their efforts, and that they have bright future within the company. And that's what we try to do.
I mean, in a way, you're also deciding who your future managers and executives are going to be, because if they show these qualities, I suppose anybody who withholds knowledge, you think, well, are they confident enough to explore new opportunities and drive forward the business? If they show those qualities and they're confident in themselves, it breeds inner confidence to be able to communicate clearly with someone who's less experienced and open yourself. It's quite a risk to a lot of people, and a lot of people don't find that easy to do. It creates almost a good opportunity for seeing who your good managers are and the ones you need to develop to take the company forward. I'm sure the two go together, don't they?
Yes, and one of the key elements is that you allocate time for this. In a daily, corridors of the business, you're chasing the problems, you're trying to solve issues, to fix things, and usually urgent things take a kind of precedent over important things. So for us, one of the elements is that we allocate time for important things, and I think building new way of leaders is probably the most important thing in the company. That's our future. When I'm done, with the company, somebody else will take my place, and now it's a way to get those people into those positions. So it is quite multi-dimensional framework that all these pieces need to be in place in order for that to work.
I mean, considering it's a very difficult thing to do when the pressure's on you to make money and focus on provide the best returns you can for your company. And not everybody would be able to sort of think differently about bringing on staff when they're in the middle of a major push to drive forward revenue and success in their own companies. In the old established companies, it used to be a way of doing things, and people were measured and evaluated by their performance, a proportion of which was down to either mentoring staff, talking to journalists, and being responsible for the outside reputation of the company and brand. That seemed to disappear in a sort of middle period of the last 10, 15 years, when financial pressures became greater, and therefore there was less and less time to provide, say, support for the softer issues, which many people think mentoring is, a softer issue, when in fact now we're realising how valuable a talent it is to bringing on, especially at a time when it's difficult to find talent, and developing that into future leaders. I've begun to think, well, they're going to be poached, it's wasted effort, why should I bother?
But there is a famous saying about why would you spend money to develop leaders? Why would you spend money to do training for employees? And some people say, you spend so much money on training and then, somebody else takes them away and you're lost without them. And my answer to it is, what if we don't train them and they stay with us? What would be our cost if you have employees who are not actually, able to execute their tasks? So I think that as an industry, we need to pay much more attention to education of our employees, giving them opportunities to explore different career paths. And I think that for us, if we're going to secure future of this industry, we need to have a wave of new talent coming into the industry, because me with my gray hair, we have short runway, in front of us, but we need to inspire people with our technology and so they can actually take our places. And I'm looking forward to it. It's very exciting. And I think that culture is probably, as I always say to our employees, the most difficult thing to change and most difficult thing to manage. But it's most rewarding when you see young people who are eager to learn and you open the door for them and they go through those doors, they achieve their dreams and aspirations, and it's the most fulfilling thing that you can think of. So I gain as much as they gain when I do mentoring for our employees. I just enjoy it, personally.